Namaskar. Today it's June 1st, 2026. Welcome to day 80 of Satvik Yogi Path. Each year on March 14 begins my 100 days journey in returning to the essence of yoga towards the celebration of International Day of Yoga on June 21st. This year, I chose to revisit Maharshi Patanjali's Yoga Sūtra and share my daily practices inspired by it. Once again, welcome to day 80 of 70 Yoga Satvik Yogi Path. Today being June 1st, I am very excited and I am so happy. I can't wait to share this with you. There are few things that is happening today on day 80. So the first one, that we only have 20 days to celebrate International Day of Yoga, which is on June 21st. So the countdown begins, right? And the second, that oh my gosh, it's day 80. For the past 80 days, consistently we have been practicing. Yesterday, we learned that how by consistently practicing the limbs of yoga, impurities are destroyed and clarity appears, right? But today, in Yoga Sutra 2.29 or the 29th Yoga Sutra from the Sadhana Pad, which is the second chapter, Maharshi Patanjali introduces the 8 limbs of yoga, Aṣṭāṅga Yoga. Let us recite the Yoga Sutra 2.29. And it goes like this: Yam, niyam, āsana prāṇāyāma, pratyāhāra, dhāraṇā, dhyāna, samādhyo, Aṣṭāṅgani. Once again, Yam, niyam, āsana, prāṇāyāma, pratyāhāra, dhāraṇā, dhyāna, samādhi, Aṣṭāṅgani. These are the 8 limbs of yoga. Yam, niyam, asana, pranayam, pratyahar, dharana, dhyan, samadhi. So if you had been thinking all along that yoga just means posture, getting into the most difficult posture, the headstand, and all the other amazing looking, impossible looking postures is yoga, then let me break it to you. No, yoga is a way of life. Yoga is simply our lifestyle in daily on our daily basis, how we act, how we react, how we respond, how we are in the present moment. That's yoga. So the 8 limbs of yoga. The first is yam. Then comes niyam. Then comes asana, the postures. And then it is pranayam. Then pratyahāra. So yoga is a journey from the outside to the inside, towards our inside. Let's find out how that happens. Today, Maharshi Patanjali lists these limbs, the complete path of Aṣṭāṅga Yoga, the complete path of purification and clarity. Now, let us break it down word by word. the 8 limbs, or let's break the Yoga Sūtra 2.29, the 8 limbs of yoga, to maybe a little bit understand better. Yam. Yam is the restraints. Niyam is the observances or the observances. Āsana is the third limb of Aṣṭāṅga Yoga. Āsana is the posture. Then comes prāṇāyāma, regulation of breath. Pratyāhāra, withdrawal of senses. Then comes dhāraṇā, concentration. Dhyāna, meditation. Samādhi, absorption. So next time someone says that yoga is meditation, yoga is simply postures, or getting into the most difficult looking posture is yoga. I'm learning yoga and this school teaches yoga. I see yoga happening there. Yoga is a way of life. And this is just the 8 limbs of yoga that I practice and I'm sharing with you. Aṣṭāṅga Yoga. And it is the 29th Yoga Sutra in the second chapter. Not the first chapter, which had about 51 aphorisms. The second chapter, Sadhana Pad. Sadhana is practice. The second chapter, where Maharshi Patanjali discusses in the 29th Yoga Sutra, the Aṣṭāṅga Yoga, the complete path of purification of the mind and clarity. And Satvik Yogi Path, it is not a performance, not a ritual, not aesthetics. It is simply a journey by awareness. It is so simple. It's the global way of living with clarity every day. Please let me know your questions if you have any, if you want to know what is yoga. Let's get this thing clear. Aṣṭau angani. So the sutra is yam, niyam, āsana, prāṇāyāma, dhāraṇā, pratyāhāra, dhāraṇā, dhyāna, samādhiyo, aṣṭav angani. And now aṣṭav angani means the 8 limbs. And this practice is called Aṣṭāṅga Yoga. These 8 limbs form the complete path of yoga. The 8 limbs, not just the posture, not just the third limb, which is asana. So next time when someone asks you, okay, so you practice yoga, what is yoga? You just say it is the 8 limbs of yoga. 8 limbs of yoga. So yoga is not just asana or getting into the postures. There are 2 very important steps before posture, before getting into posture, before getting the body and the mind ready for postures, which is yam, that is restraints, and observances, niyam. And then once the mind, body, and the spirit is ready, that we get into the posture. Our body is ready for asana, which is the third limb. Now, Aṣṭāṅga Yoga, the 8 limbs of yoga, it is not a sequence, let me tell you. And it's not a style. Neither it's a brand or a physical routine. No, it's not. It is a complete system for purifying the mind, steadying the senses, refining awareness, revealing clarity, dissolving avidya, misidentification, and leading to kaivalya. So yoga is not a brand, it's not a style, it's not a physical routine or a sequence to be followed. Yoga is a complete system for purifying the mind, the fluctuations, the afflictions, vrittis, the disturbances. It is steadying the senses. It's refining awareness, revealing clarity, dissolving misidentification, and thereby leading to kaivalya. Each limb prepares the next. It is not a sequence though. Each limb prepares the next. So let us learn what the 8 limbs actually mean. The first one is yam, the foundation of conduct. So it is how we relate to the world. How we relate to the world. How we relate to the world. It is our relationship to the world, to the external world. How you relate to others. That is yam, foundation of conduct. The second limb is niyam, foundation of discipline. How we relate to ourselves. Yam is how we relate to the world, and niyam is how we relate to ourselves. It's the foundation of discipline. The third limb is āsana. So once we have learned, practiced consistently how we relate to the world, and then second, how we relate to ourselves, our own world, then comes steadiness of the body. Then we prepare our body, a stable seat for practice. So now, steadiness of the body. The fourth limb is pranayam, refinement of breath. Refinement of breath. So balancing the life force. Balancing the life force. The fifth limb is pratyāhāra, withdrawal of senses. Now, this is a very important limb of Aṣṭāṅga Yoga, pratyāhāra, which is the fifth limb. This is the step. It is also considered the bridge from the outer world, the journey that we make from the outer world to the inner world. And pratyāhāra is the bridge, withdrawal of senses. Withdrawal of senses. pratyāhāra. That's the fifth limb. Once we have made the journey from our outside world through pratyāhāra, withdrawal of senses, towards our inside world, the sixth limb is dhāraṇā. Dhāraṇā is concentration, holding attention steady. So now you are already inside, that's inside of you, your own inner world. Now you're working on your inner world, and that is in the sixth limb, dharana. Holding the attention steady. You can practice attention, but holding the attention steady. Then comes the seventh limb, is dhyāna, meditation. Unbroken flow of awareness. Unbroken flow of awareness. So you are following, practicing, learning, practicing the above steps. Each step flows into the next. Meditation is the seventh limb. And the eighth limb of Aṣṭāṅga Yoga is samādhi, absorption. Absorption. The seer, prakriti, pure awareness, is resting in its own nature. And this is the heart of Aṣṭāṅga Yoga. Hence, the eight limbs of yoga, Aṣṭāṅga Yoga, yama, which is how you relate with the outer world, how you relate with others, restrain. The second, niyama, the foundation of discipline, how you relate with yourself, observances. Āsana, posture, steadying the body. Prāṇāyāma, the foundation of discipline, the balancing of life force, which is the fourth limb. And fifth limb, taking a journey from the outer world, because now your body and mind, your body is ready, and now you take an inward journey through pratyāhāra, by withdrawal of senses. You take an inward journey, and then concentration, dhāraṇā, dhyāna, meditation, and absorption, samādhi. Okay, so to understand a little more, let me share this analogy so we can get a better picture. Imagine building a house. Imagine building a house. You need a foundation, walls, roof, windows, doors, electricity, water, finishing touches, right? Each part is essential. Each part is essential. Each part supports the next. Each part supports the next. A house is not complete even if one part is missing. The house is not complete. In the same way, yam is the foundation, niyam is the structure, āsana is the stability, prāṇāyāma is the energy, pratyāhāra is the insulation, dhāraṇā is the wiring, dhyāna is the lighting, and samādhi is the final illumination. And this is the architecture of yoga, Aṣṭāṅga Yoga. Yoga is not one limb, just yoga. You read yoga. Yoga is 8 limbs. So where is yam? Where is niyam? Where is the foundation? Where is the structure? Where is the stability? Where is the life force, balancing life force before we turn inward, before we go into, as we say, I practice meditation. So pratyāhāra is the insulation. Pratyāhāra is the bridge, the 5th limb of yoga, which is now, since the body is steady, now the life force is balanced. Now we are ready to take an inward journey by withdrawal of senses, pratyāhāra. So each step is essential. The complete path of purification of the mind and clarity of the seer is Aṣṭāṅga Yoga, the 8 limbs of yoga. When the 8 limbs work together, the mind becomes clear and the seer becomes visible. And what is a seer? Prakriti. What is Prakriti? Pure awareness. So what are we practicing today? We reflect on which limb feels the strongest in our life. Is it yam, that is how we relate to the world, restraints? Or is it niyam, observances, how we relate to our own self? Or is it the steadiness of our body? Is it the stability? Or is it the energy, the balancing of the life force, energy? Or is it the insulation, the bridge from outside to the inner world? Or is it the wiring of the house, that is concentration? Or is it the lighting, dhyāna, meditation? Or is it the final illumination, the absorption? So we reflect on which limb feels strongest in our life. Then we reflect which limb needs attention, work needs to be done of the 8 limbs. And then we practice on Om, the gentle repetition, and we contemplate on balance. So let us get ready to practice our stillness practice, starting with steadiness of our body and breath. So we do this every day with your back and spine straight. You're seated on your sitting bones, not on your tailbones. Adjust if you have to. Roll your shoulder to open up your chest. And looking at a point at the eye level, straight ahead. And now, with a smile on your face, we observe our breath with one hand gently placed over your navel. We breathe in, breathe out. Just observe. We take 2 breath cycles. Just observe. But you could practice this just observing your breath, being aware with awareness breathing, that you're present, that your hand is gently placed over Nabhi, that you are breathing right now. So, with awareness in the present moment, you breathe in, you breathe out, and then gradually you would practice lengthening your exhalation from inhalation in each breath cycle. And you could do this 6 times, 6 breath cycle, or 8 breath cycle as you increase your practices. But to begin with, you could just do how you can still your breath stillness, steadiness of your breath by first 2 breath cycle of observation, then the next 2 with awareness, and the next 2 equalizing your breath. So you have to make counts. Breathe in 1, breathe in, breathe out 1. So the number of counts of inhalation must be equal to the number of counts of exhalation. And the fourth, you may take 2 in 2 breath cycle. You lengthen the exhalation, or you could double the exhalation. So if you breathe for 2 counts in, then you breathe out for 4 counts. Breathe in 2, breathe out 2, 3, 4. So you could do that. And a total of 8 breath cycle with 2 each for first, starting with observing your breath, no judgments, not judging, I'm breathing fast, I'm breathing slow, nothing, just observing your breath. Then you breathe with awareness, then you equalize your breath, and then finally you lengthen your exhalation or double the exhalation count from the inhalation count. Now you bring to mind the 8 limbs. The restraint, that is niyam observances, your posture, your, just like remember how we were imagining to build a house. And each component, the 8 components, are essential. The house cannot stand on its own if any one of the component is missing. So you would bring to mind the 8 limbs and let them appear one by one. Yam, how we relate to the outer world. Niyam, how we relate to our inner world. Posture, how we can reach, be stable, stability of our body, and then how we balance the energy. And then now that we are ready to take a journey into our inner world, inside pratyāhāra, by withdrawal of senses, and then dhāraṇā, steadying the concentration, and dhyāna, meditation, and samādhi, the inner illumination, absorption. So once you have done this, each step, each limb, now you ask, so which limb is calling me today? Is it how I relate to the world? Or is it how I relate to myself? That is it yam or is it niyam? Or is it about the stability of my body? Or is it about balancing the energy, life force? And then we practice Om. We take a deep breath in, and with exhalation, Om, take a deep breath in. Just stay there. You can sometimes check if you're still able to smile, and naturally, not forced. And then we contemplate bhavana. Let my practice be whole, the complete path towards purification of the mind. The fluctuations, the afflictions of the mind, the misidentification dissolving, and clarification, clarity with clarity. So that completes our stillness practice, as we always have the day's challenge. And so today, 80th day challenge is that choose one limb of yoga today and practice it with sincerity. Day 80 teaches us that yoga is a complete path. The 8 limbs is the path towards purification of the mind, the impurities of the mind, dissolves, destroyed, steady the senses, and reveal clarity. And that's our objective, that's our goal, to live with clarity, not with confusion, on a daily basis. Living with clarity. So tomorrow we begin the first limb, that is yam. Restraint, how we relate to the outer world. As we explore Yam, the foundation of Aṣṭāṅga Yoga, and that's the beginning of the path towards purification. I thank you all, and I also can't wait to share the final day, which is the 100th day, when we together celebrate International Day of Yoga. And that also happens to be on the same day as summer solstice, which is June 21st. Well, I will be in the Times Square of New York, where I every year I try to be there and practice yoga with so many people across the nation, or maybe across the world. And your steadiness is the real journey. Thank you for being there. And it is 80th day. So be there with me in the countdown towards the International Day of Yoga and celebrating on June 21st together. We meet again tomorrow. Until then, stay warm, stay open, and most importantly, with a smile, stay true, stay honest to your own story. I thank you all for your presence. Thank you.